Hello, and welcome to Counseling 5023 Introduction to Theories. So, in Chapter 1, we're going to be discussing foundations of counseling and psychotherapy. So, interviewing is a very big part of counseling. This is when you meet clients and you actually gather information to actually obtain information needed for proper treatment planning and caregiving for the client to identify the etiology of the client issues, factors that go into the client issues, right? But interviewing is the basic process for gathering information, problem solving, and advice giving, right? So interviewers may be guidance or counseling staff, medical personnel, business people, wide variety of health professionals. But in counseling, when we do our initial assessments and biopsychosocials and whatnot, a lot of times going to be involved in an unstructured interview. So counseling, there's a difference between counseling and psychotherapy. Counseling is more intensive and personal than interviewing. Counselors help people with normal difficulties and opportunities, and counselors most often associated with counseling and psychology, guidance, social work, pastoral counseling, psychiatry, and psychiatry to a limited extent. But again, there's a difference between what an interviewer does. There are a lot of individuals that do interviewing that work in social services or work in human services. Counselors' interviews are a lot less, or a lot more intensive and focus a lot more on the difficulties and opportunities and some of the factors that the client is demonstrating to help them actually clinically reach treatment plan goals. So psychotherapy is more intense than counseling. It focuses on deep-seated personality or behavioral difficulties. Is intentional counseling and psychotherapy skills are equally important for effective psychotherapy. So when we talk about interrelationships, we have counseling, interviewing, and psychotherapy because they all connect in some point in some way, right? There's a relationship between each. So when we talk about micro skills and the approach of micro skills across any theory that we discuss in this course and in your next course or any theory that you utilize with clients or whatnot, there are micro skills that go across that are utilized by each, right? So intentional client interactions, there's a foundation of intentional counseling and psychotherapy, communication skills, summarizing successive steps for clients, provides different alternatives for use with different clients and different situations. So why the term micro skills? So intentional client interactions. Micro means breaking down complex, larger components into more precise, small, and manageable components. Breaking down a skill of effective counseling into a clear step-by-step process makes them easier to learn and teach. There are five-step model for micro skill development. Define the skill, its essential features and purpose. Observe the skill in action. Learn the skill and its implications. Practice the skill in role play, and plan for generalization. So counseling and psychotherapy theory, the therapy relationship and micro skills. All counseling theories use micro skills in varying degrees. Again, like I said earlier, across all the theories you utilize, there are going to be some common factors of counseling that you're going to utilize or common skills, micro counseling skills that you're going to discuss. It's going to be utilized. So competencies on the skill will facilitate learning theoretical alternatives. And micro skills framework can also be considered in a theory itself, in which a counselor and client work together to enable construction of new stories or new thoughts, feelings, or actions. So relationship building, which is one of the most important things that we do because no one wants to actually talk to you or provide you information or tell their stories if there's not a relationship there. A relationship is very important. An empathetic relationship has been found to be responsible for 30% or more of the change observed in effective counseling. Your unique personhood and listening skills set the stage for the rest of the session. So your ability to listen, your ability to make someone feel at home, your ability to make someone feel that you're genuine is very important because it shows the client that you're going to pay attention and you're going to listen to them and they're going to feel heard. You need to consider the needs, preferences, and cultural characteristics of your client and provide evidence-based accommodations and adaptations. So when we talk about evidence-based, we're talking about things that have been researched, that have been proven to work, that have been proven to be effective. So evidence-based relationship building and combinations and adaptations. Empathy is again 30% of what we do. Goal consensus and collaboration. Positive regard and affirmation. Alliance ruptures. Managing countertransference and reactance levels. Stage of change, preference, culture, coping style, and religion and spirituality. So empathetic relationships, the story and the strengths, goals, restory, and action model. The empathetic relationship, story and strength, and goals, restory, action model summarizes a basic strength-based framework for human change that you can use to help ensure effective counseling and psychotherapy. So when we talk about that positive orientation or that need for positive regard, the empathetic relationship plays a huge role in that the ability to understand how a person feels, not what they experience, how they feel. Story and strengths. That's going to be told by the client, and you're going to focus on the client's strengths and their wellness throughout their story. Work on mutually agreed upon goals. Generate new ways for the client to see and talk about themselves. Help the client bring new ways of thinking and being into action. So micro skills research. There's more than 600 database studies that have tested the micro skills model, using over 1,000 settings throughout the world. So again, evidence based. It's been shown that it works. So intentional client interaction. So you need to expect results. Practice is essential. Multicultural differences are real. So again, the differences in people, the way people view things, people's worldviews are different. Different theories have different patterns of skill usage. Cultural intentionality prepares you for the unexpected and enables you to flex other micro skills and use feedback as your compass. So when we talk about being culturally intentionality, that's that again, making sure that you are looking at the client for who they are, their unique selves or whatnot, and making sure that what you're going to utilize is going to be geared towards their culture and what their belief systems are and who they are, right? So what does it mean to you to be cultural intentionality? Client lives in a multicultural world, attends cultural differences, explore contextual aspects of things, be aware that change may not occur in a few sessions, and sessions in a mini culture in which clients can learn new skills, attitudes, and behaviors that they can take into the real world. But again, remember, that client is unique, and we never want to put anybody in a box. We want to make sure we pull out what that client's culture is and their belief systems and how they see the world. So, culturally intentional therapists assess clients' cultural background and flex micro skill applications to achieve specific results. They recognize that the results achieved from use in specific micro skills may vary wildly amongst clients from different cultures. And the basic rule of helping: if a helping lead or skill doesn't work, try another approach in a culturally sensitive manner. So again, you want to use what works for the client. I call it the psychology of use. I want to use what works for the client, not what works for me, because it's about the client, and the client sees everything from their cultural worldview. So resilience and self-actualization. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, the ability to actually get through adversity, the ability to actually recover and actually go through their life trials and tribulations and duties. The development of client intentionality increases resilience and promotes a stronger sense of self. Promoting emotional regulation is central to effective counseling. So self-actualization and self in relation, right? So these are keys to resilience. So self-actualization is a key to resilience. Also, self in relation is the key to resilience. Human tendencies to actualize and a curative factor of counseling and therapy. Self is organized and developed into the context of important relationships. Self-actualizing, intentional clients or sales in relationships. Do not forget to perceive the client in their context or in the context. So neuroscience is very important. Our brains, again, a lot of what we do with counseling or whatnot is impact the neuroscience and certain concepts of our brain impact our responses and the way we view things and the way we see the world and how we respond to things, right? So neuroscience research confirms what we do in our field. The term neuroplasticity is really important. Our brain grows and stretches based on what we've experienced, right? So how we've experienced things is how we see things through that lens, right? So again, your brain grows and stretches through neuroplasticities. So humans generate new neural networks of information and even new neurons throughout their lifespans. Neurocounselors may become a professional specialization in the near future. So some causes of brain deterioration: drug and alcohol use, developmental issues such as depressed or addicted mothers, poverty, neglect, and abuse, oppression from racism, sexism, bullying, or other forms of prejudice, infections and illnesses, wrong medication or interventions, potential consequences, reduce cognitive, emotional, and behavioral skills. So brain plasticity. Neuroscience has brought us into deeper awareness of the effect of stress on virtually all the client's issues. Discuss with your clients brain plasticity. It can be very useful for them to understand that, again, there's some physiological things happening through their neural networks that can be impacting their behavior or their responses to certain situations. So when we see clients, what does it look like, right? Office, community, smartphones. Where do we meet clients? Again, there's a lot of different various settings that you can work in when providing counseling services, right? So, but the context in which you provide services is really important, right? You want to make sure that you have eye contact, you have having a reflex and friendly body style of reporting, remaining solar, squared, open, linked in, having that stance to a point where the client knows that you're listening. Where do we meet clients at? Again, so when you think about your office space, you think about your furniture arrangement, your warmth and comfort, office decorations, clientele served, game and other possibilities, accommodations for children, atmosphere for adolescents and adults, the waiting room if you have one, and internet counseling. Again, all those things need to be open, be a space where clients are going to feel, clients of all different cultures and all different walks of life can come to your office and feel at home and feel as if they're not going to be judged, or they're not going to feel undermined with their belief systems. Now, for you, I always tell some of my clinicians that if there was one way of doing therapy, everybody would do it the same way. But it's not one way, because your natural style and who you are is also is going to dictate how you go about counseling and going through the helping process with clients, right? So again, you finding your own natural style is really important, and finding out how you treat or what you believe in or what your beliefs about human behavior are is really important, because when you start to think about how you believe human behavior is shaped or whatnot, it's probably going to play a huge role in your thought process on your theoretical orientation that you select. So again, when you start to build your skills and your competencies and whatnot, the awareness, knowledge, skills, and actions and whatnot, make sure you find some kind of way of evaluating yourself, checking some type of checklist or some way of evaluating your skill set, so to make sure you're always getting better, because getting better for counselors is an ongoing process for us. That's why we have to have CEUs every year to make sure we're staying up to date and keeping our skills sharpened to make sure we can be very beneficial and effective for counselors, for clients.